Yeah, hi team. So welcome to the session. So we'll just start the session. Meantime, if others are available, they can join the session. Before start, like if anyone has any questions, let me know. We can go and take those questions first. Okay. So let me share my screen in that case. So yesterday we are seeing that lookups, right? That okay, what all things are there in the lookup, right? So we have started this lookups, and in this one, right, what we have done, right, we have created our this lookup. So we like I was saying that okay, if it is a 1 or 2, right, we can do here, right? But what about like if we have to put 100 here, right? How we can do that one, right? So what we do in that scenario, right, we can click into this one and we can make a export to CSV. So what will happen, right, this will go and download into our local, right? So we can say save. So it is downloaded into the local here, like this got downloaded here, right? Now what is the next thing which we have to do? Like we can come here and just let me open this one. So this is how the file looks like when we download, right? So this is the file looks like. So the first line, right, we never have to change anything. So first is the TVM, right? So data value mapping, right? Then the lookup name. And then if you have put any description, so that description would have been come here, right? And here we have the first column, right? Code, full name, country, right? And then here we have that informations, right? Now suppose we can keep adding here information. So we can say state 1, or we can write for example city 1, state 1, and India, right? So for example, right, this kind of records only we keep entering here, right? And we can just go and change these things, right? So this is sample data I have put, right? Now what I can do, right, I can save this one. So I have modified my existing file, right? Now what I can do, right, like this kind of thing, right, we manually, right, we can go and write here 100 records, 200 record, right? Any number of records we can go and enter, and then right, what we do, right, we can come back here and we can click into the import. So whatever the file which we have, right, we can go and import that file here, right? So we have uploaded the same file back, right? We can click into import. So if you see, right, it is finding the same name, right? So it will ask import and replace lookup, right? So what we do, right? Yes, we can say import and replace. So if you see, right, what is happened? The existing, right, it got modified. And if you see, right, now what is happening? 8 values are coming. So if I will go and click into this one, right? So what is happened, right? Whatever we have added, right? So all those things came here, right? The C1, C2, C3, 4, right? So each and everything it is coming, right? It means like we can create a template here, right? Like one record we can create here, then we can export that into local, and then right, if it is a bigger list, right, we can go and modify into our local, right? So that is a one way what we have, right? Now, okay, we have able to add the rows, right? Can we add the column also in case if you have to do, right? So we can see, I can write here country, maybe we can say currency, right? So here we can write rupees, right? So I can just copy this same thing, or for this one, right, I'm not putting anything, right, I'm just putting null, right? So let us see, right, now what we have done, right, we have added additional column, right, and then we are putting the data for that one, right? So let us see whether it will create the column also, or is it will just create only row, right? So we can say import again, use this file, and we can say import and import and replace. So if you see it, domains, it is coming 4, right? And if I will come here, right, if you see the new column, right, which we have added, right, currency, so that is also started coming, right? So wherever we have given null, right, so those will come blank, right? So it means like we can go and put the same, right, we can put the everything here, right? We can put the rows, we can put the columns, right? Anything we can go and do, right? Now in this one, right, I was saying that, okay, we never have to change the first line, right? Right, for example, right, if you change right here this lookup, right, you will say lookup 1, right? For example, you have modified this one, right? Now what will happen, right? So let us see if you modify that one. I will do import again and import. So if you see this time, right, it is not asking the pop-up, right, information that, okay, replace, right? What happened, right? It has created a new lookup only, right? If you see, we earlier it was a B21 lookup, now it is B20 lookup 1, right? So why it is created a new? Because we have changed the name, right? We have modified the first column. So due to that reason, right, it is creating that one, right? So due to that reason, I'm saying we don't have to modify the name first, right? Otherwise, what will happen, right? It will create a new column. Now let us see, can we create this file manually also, right? So let us see, I will say, so first we have to use the dvm, then comma, we can say b21 underscore lookup 2, then we can write description in case if we need to write, then we can here write the columns, right? So I will write here the columns again. For example, I will write country, country code, country name, and country currency, right? So these three columns we are creating. So first we will write IN, we'll say India, and it is rupees. Second we'll say US, you can say United States, and it is dollar, right? So for example, right, this is what we have, right? Now we can go and save this one. So with so any name you can go and save. Name will not impact anything because if you see, right, in this one, right, the name was B21 lookup, right? But internally we have given one, right? So it was taking care of this one, right? So here we have given, right? Now we'll see whether this it will go and create or not, right? So we can see here import. So this is the second file which we just created. We can come here, import, and we can say import. So if you see it will go and import also, right? So it means like if you wanted to create from the scratch, right, in local also, right? So you can go and create also, right? So you just need to know the syntax that, okay, what is the format of the file, right? So only the first line you should know, then rest all things, right, you can have, and you can create the file also directly, right? So this is what we have the lookup in the OIC. Any questions if anyone has into this one? Okay. So if no question, then we'll see the next. So yesterday we are looking into the connections, but like we have not, right? So today we'll go and cover this connections concept. So connection is a thing, right? Like when we are discussing, right, the development life cycle, right? So we told that, okay, we need that connection first, right? So what is this connection, right? Connection is the one with the help of that one, right? We will able to communicate with the systems, right? So when we create any integration, right, we need to define the connection first, right? So we can come here and we can create a connection. So when we create the connection, right? So if you see, right, first we need to see the adapter, right? So what is these adapters? So these are the adapters which are available here, right? So adapters are nothing like predefined way, right? So if you see, right, 112 system adapters are there, right? It means these are the different systems which we can go and communicate. So if you see, right, if I wanted to connect with the Adobe system, right? So I can use this Adobe Sign. If I wanted to use Amazon S3, Amazon SNS, right? So with that particular system, I can communicate. Apache, right? Kalfak. Then Azure Active Directory, right? So if you see it here, we will have different, right? IBM database, right? DB2 we have, Eloqua we have, right? FTP, Facebook, right? So with whichever system we wanted to communicate, right? So all those informations are available, right? So we cannot go and install anything here, but if you said these are pre-installed, right? So with the help of these adapters, right, we can go and communicate. So if, for example, right, we wanted to connect with the HCM, right? So if you see Oracle HCM Cloud, right? Or for example, I will write cloud. So in the cloud, right, if you see these many options we are have. So Oracle Field Service Cloud, Oracle ERP Cloud, Oracle Commerce Cloud, right? Then Oracle HCM Cloud, right? So we have this system Service Cloud right now, right? So whichever system it is, right? If it is a SAP, right? Salesforce, right? Salesforce Marketing Cloud, right? So whichever cloud it is, right? We can go and communicate with that one with the help of adapters. So this one option which we are able to see, right? So this will only tell us the list only. We cannot go and do anything here. We cannot go and create a new, but it will just show the list of adapters that, okay, what are the list of adapters we have available, right? By using this one, right, we can go and create the connections, right? So when we click into the create connection, right, what will happen, right? It will go and ask that list. So if you see right here, we have this many number of connections. So first it will go and show the name that, okay, what is this connection is, right? Then this green color, right, it will show the type of the connection. So we have three types of connection: trigger, invoke, and trigger and invoke, right? So it will go and show. If it is only a trigger, it will show only trigger. If it is only invoke, it is only invoke. If it is both, right, so it will go and give the both. So if I will show you, if you see, right, this one, right, this is only invoke, right? So only one thing we are have. This, if you see, right, this is only trigger, right? So it will just show the trigger. When it is a both, right, it will go and show both, right? Then the second, right, second will show the type of connection, right? Which adapter we have used. If you see for this one, right, we have used the FTP adapter. Then for this one, we have used the ERP. For this one, we have used the SOAP. For this one, we have used the REST connection. We have used the HCM adapter, right? So this type, right, it will go and show that, okay, what type we are using to create this connection, right? So based on this type, right, the next configuration things, right, will vary. And where all we are using this one, right, so that list it will go and show. So zero integration, one integration, two integration, right? So we can click into this one and we can see that, okay, which all integrations are using this one, right? So we can go and see that one. Then the next is the last updated and the status, right? So status here also three status will be there. One is a draft, right? When we create, right, so that time it will be a draft. When it is error free, right, it is completed, so it is in the configured. And then the lock is the same thing, right? What it is happening in the OIC, right? That, okay, when we create something, right, or if something goes wrong, right, so that time this will be the logged status, right? So these are all the status it will be. And once you click into this one, you will get more information that, okay, who has updated and all. And then in this one actions, right, you can make a copy, you can delete, or whichever the lock one, right, you can go and unlock. So normally you will get these three: clone, refresh, and delete, right? So this is what you will get. Now suppose if you wanted to see, right, so two types of view you can see. If you just wanted to see, right, and you don't want to modify anything, right, you can go with this eye icon. When you wanted to modify also, right, you can go with this icon, edit icon. Now if I will say that if we wanted to create, right, so what we do, right, so we'll use the generic adapter, the REST adapter. So we can say REST, we can click into this one. So if you see, right, as in the integration also, right, we are giving the name, then identifier it is coming, right? So it is the same concept. So this identifier should be unique always. Then rest all the keywords. But if you see, right, we have this role, right? So this role plays a key role into defining the integration. So if you see, we have three types of roles: trigger, invoke, trigger, and invoke. So whatever we are able to see these, right? So these are coming because of this one. If you are just using trigger, right, then only trigger will come. If you are using only invoke, right, then only invoke will come. If you are putting both, right, then what will happen, right? The both will come, right? So this is how we can go and take care of that, that okay, which one we have to use and what it is, right? But what is the deciding factor or what it is, right? So I have one document. So if you see what are the different connections we have, right? So first is the trigger connection. So we can call that trigger connection as a source connection also, right? Source in the sense the starting point, right? Because like when we wanted to communicate between two systems, right? What will happen, right? One system should be the starting point, right? So what is that starting point, right? So that we can go and say here that okay, this is the starting point, right? Same way, right? What is the ending point, right? So that we can go and mention that okay, this is the ending point, right? So the trigger connection, right, we can call as a starting point or we can say source connection, right? It is used to send request to the OIC, right? It means like what is the purpose of this one? It is a starting point, right? So what will happen, right? With the help of this one, right, we'll send the request to the OIC. So if you see, this is a start point, right? Then after that one, right, the OIC logic will come, right? So what we will do in that logic, right? We will sending the information, right? That okay, from this one, right, go to that information, right? So that is what we are doing here. It is used to initiate the integration, right? So now we know, right, it is a starting point, right? So it will only start the integration. So it is used to initiate the integration. It is used to configure the request and response payload for the integration. Now this is starting point, right? So this only will say that, that right, like what is input, what is output, it is going to be, right? So all those things, right, we can go and define with the help of this trigger connection. When we use it in the OIC, right? So we can go and do that one. We can add trigger only once in a integration. Now we can just add a trigger one time, right? Now why we can just add only one time? Because this is a starting point, right? So for any code, right, or for anything, right, if you can say, right, only one can be the starting point, right? It cannot have the multiple starting point, right? So due to that reason, right, that we can add the trigger only one time in a integration. Trigger connection can't be used in the schedule integration. It can be used in app driven, right? So what it means, right? This trigger connection, right? We cannot go and use in the schedule integration. Only in the app driven we can go and use, right? Now why cannot we use in the schedule? Because in the schedule, right? What is the starting point, right? Starting point is the time, right? That on particular time, right? It will automatically start, right? So in the schedule, right? Already the trigger is there, right? Which is a time, right? In the third, right? The events one, right? The starting point is the event, right? So once that event will publish, right, it will go and start, right? So this trigger, right, we can go and use only in the app driven. We cannot go and use into the other integrations. So one thing we got that okay, if you are creating any other connection, right, schedule one over there, so in that one, right, we cannot go and use the trigger connection, right, because it is a starting point. So in the event and in the schedule, right, the starting point is already there, right? So we cannot go and use that one here, right? So that is the trigger connection or source connection. So if you see, right, how the whole OIC happen, right? Source connection, then the logic part will be there, and then the target connection. So when we wanted to send the information from here to here, right? So we will use the trigger connection. Then second we write from OIC code to the target if you wanted to send, right? So that time, right, we will use the invoke, right? So invoke, you can say the target connection also, and the final also, right? Now if you see, right, in the code, right, it is used to send requests from OIC to target, right? So if you see, right, from OIC to target, right? So when we send that output, right, to the final thing, right, or when we wanted to send to the target system, right, so that time, right, we need to use this invoke connection. It is used to call web services in OIC, right? So when we need to call that some uh, web service, right, internally, right, like in between of the code, right? So that time, right, we can go and use the OIC. So this target connection, it doesn't mean that okay, the last endpoint, right? Because our integration will start. If you see this diagram, right, integration is going in the stop, right? It means that it will stop, right? So it doesn't mean that okay, here we need that one, right? Invoke connection, no. Internally after start, right, we can go and call invoke anywhere, right? So it is used to call the web services. So when we need to call with the external system, right, with the help of web services, right? So that time also we can go and use this invoke connections. We can add multiple invoke connection in integration, right? Now can we just go, like if you see right in the invoke, right, in the trigger, right, we can just add once, right? Can we connect add invoke also one time only? No, we can add at any number of times. So for example, if you see that scenario of the salary, right? So we discuss, right, we will get that value, and then right, what will happen, right? Some value, right, we will send to the PF department, some value will send to the income tax department, and then the final value will send to the bank, right? So in this one, if you see, right, there are three endpoints, right, or three targets, right? So if we do only one, right, how we will able to communicate with the other two, right? So due to that reason, right, the invoke, right, we can do invoke any number of times, right? It means the target systems we can go and use any number of times. While creating the invoke connection, right, we require to pass the web service URL, right? So that's the correct, right? So when we use the invoke connection, right, we need to tell that address, right? That okay, with which system we wanted to communicate, right? Which API we wanted to call, right? So all those things, right, we need to pass. Invoke connection can be used in app driven or schedule integrations both, or like the event also, right? So it means like this invoke connection, right, we can go and use anywhere. It's not like that okay, only in this particular we can do, right? So trigger we know, right? Trigger we can go and use only in the app driven, right? But invoke, right, invoke we can go and use in any type of integration. We don't have any limit that okay, only we can use into this or that, right? So that is what we have in the invoke connection, right? So this is about the invoke. Now the third one is like trigger and invoke, right? So this is like combination of the source and target, right? So when we will use this one, right? So if you see, it is a combination of trigger and invoke connection, and this will be used in both, right? So okay, now like when it will be trigger and invoke both, right? So when some system, right, will be treated as a both, right? Maybe in some scenario, right, it can be treated as a. So for example, if you see the database, right? So database can be the starting point also, and the database can be the ending point also, right? So starting point in the sense, right? Suppose when there is a new entry in the database, right? Correct? New record will be done, right? So that time, right, we need to do some activity, right? Like we wanted to send some notification, we wanted to put some validation, right? So that time, right, what will happen, right? This will be treated as a trigger, right? Because that is a starting point. Same way, right, when we will extract the data from the fusion, right? And now we wanted to load that data into the BIP, ATP table, right? So that time, right, what will happen? The database will be treated as a target system, correct? So when we are not sure, right, that okay, or when we know, right, it is going to be treated as a both, right, in some scenarios, right? So that time, right, what we do, we can go with the both, right, trigger and invoke. When we know always that okay, it is going to be the trigger only, so that time we can go for the specific. When we know it is always going to be the invoke only, right, so we can go with the invoke, right? But when we know, right, that okay, this can be treated as both, right? So in that way, right, instead of creating two different connection, right, what we do, right, we can go and use only one, right? If you want, right, what you can do, right, for the same connection, right, one connection, like for the same system, right, suppose database, right, you can create one connection as the trigger and one connection as the invoke, right? So you can create two different connections, right? Or you can create a one only with the trigger and invoke, right? So if you create one only, right, what will happen? It is like less maintenance, right? Because suppose tomorrow, right, if suppose credentials got changed, right? So if it is a one, right, we have to just go and modify at one place, right? But if on the other hand, right, if it is a two, right, we have to modify two, right? And once you modify two, right, then like some integration will impact, right? Some will other impact, right? So due to that reason, right, when we know, right, that okay, this connection, right, to this system will be treated as a both, right? So that time it is better to go with the trigger and invoke connection, right? So these are the three rules or three connection types what we have. So I hope you got a little bit idea that okay, what these connections are. If anyone has any questions, let me know. Okay, so if no questions, we will connect. So I will write B21 underscore rest trigger connection. If you see, first I will just define the trigger connection only, right? So keyword will like identify will come automatically. Then here it is a role that okay what it is role, and then if you wanted to put keyword and description you can go and put, right? So I will click into the create. So if you see it, this is the connection window, right? This is starting point, right? So in the starting point, right, as we told, right, we don't need to pass any URL and all, right? Why? Because that is the starting point, right? And it is just used to start the integration, right? So we just have to say here security, that okay what type of security we will use, or auth 2.0, auth 2.0 or basic authentication or only basic authentication, right? So only this we will go and use, right? And then right what we do, right, we can save first. So if you see it is in the configured state. If I will click into save, right, it will go into the draft status, right? Can we go and use this one? No. So if you say right, configuration progress, right, it is showing 33 percentage, right? It means we cannot go and use this one. Why we cannot use? Because one step is missing is the test connection. So it means we need to test it out first and then only we have to do, right? So we can say test. So if you see right, configuration progress is completed 100%, right? Now we can go and save, right? So whenever we create any integration, right, first we have to test it out and then we need to save. And once it is in the configured state, right, that time we know, right, that okay, this we can go and use, right? Draft we cannot go and use, right? So this is what we have here, right? So in this one, right, it will go and show here the role, what type of role it is, identifier, and updated and integrations use. Then in this one, right, you can edit the information or you can go and delete this one, right? So this is how we can go and create the trigger connection, right? So if you see, right, this is a starting point, right? So in this one, right, we are not putting any information, right? Or we are not giving, passing any much information here, right? That okay, multiple invoke and all, right? Now we will go and create one invoke connection. So if you see, right, this time, right, it came the word right here, trigger and new, right? So this is a new and it is coming as a new trigger here, right? Now what I will do, right, I will use the same adapter, but this time, right, I will go and define as a invoke, right? So I will say rest, and this time, right, I will use the role as a invoke, right? And I will say here B21 underscore rest invoke connection, right? So I am using the invoke connection, right? And we can go and click into create. So once I will do this one, right, just see the difference, right? So if you see right here in the trigger, right, what we are having, we are just having the security, right? Like suppose only this much, right? But in this one, right, now it is in the draft status, right? And it is asking us, right, that okay, what type of all the information, right? So send us all the information, right? What type of connection type, what is the connection URL, right? What is the authentication and all. So it is asking each and everything to us, right? So we will have one server, rec request server. So this is a free REST API server, right? So what we do, right, we will go and use this for the testing purpose, right? So what we do, right, we can go and use this one, right? So connection type, right? Here you see REST API based URL or OpenAI, right? So it is a REST API based URL, right? So we can say now what we do, right, connection URL, right? So here we need to put the host URL. So I have put that one, right, host URL. Now what type of security it is, right? So there is no security, right? So we can say here no security, right? So in the trigger, if you see it, there are different securities we have, right? Because this is a target system, right? The target system, right, can go and use any type of security. If they are using oracles, they are using OAuth, they are using API key based, right? So if you say here, we have different, whatever the securities are there in the market, right? So it is giving all that options right here. So what we do, right, we can say no security policy, right? So, and if you see configuration process, right? So 8%, right? Now what I will do, right? I will go and test it out. So click in test. So if you see now it is a 100%, right? So what will happen, right? Now we can go and save, right? So this will go and change into the configured state. Now what this test is doing is really it is testing that one. So for example, right, we can say in1, right? So we know, right, with this one URL, right, there is no such server, right? So first let us come here and test it out. So if you say, right, there is no such server, right, it is showing we are trying to find out, right? Now if we'll go and if I will do the testing this time, right, you see, unable to find out the resource, right? It means the REST API what we have given, right? So it is not able to find out, right? So if you see test connection got failed, it means whatever information we'll do, right, it will try to send the ping, right? It will try to find out the validation. So here if you put the credentials right wrong, it will not check the credential whether you are authorized or not, right? But it will just check that, okay, whatever the URL you have given, right, so that is correct or not, right? So once now if I will go and change it back to 1, right, and I will do the test, so see it is working fine back, right? So we can go and save, right? So this is how we can go and create the trigger connection, or sorry, the invoke connection, right? So we have created a REST trigger connection, we have created an invoke connection. So we saw the difference, right? What is the difference, right? In this one we don't have to pass any information. In this one, right, we have to pass that target system information, right? Now what will happen, right, if you go and create the third type of integration, right? So again I will use the REST only, and this time, right, I will use a trigger and invoke, right, both. So what is expected, right? So the expectation is like it kind of a combination of both, right? So we can say trigger invoke connection, and we can say create. So if you see, right, what is happening, right, again we got that invoke kind of page, right? So why? Because it is a combination, right? So when it is a starting point, right, so that time we don't need that information. But when it is treating as a target connection, right, so that time, right, we need to pass this all this information, right? So due to that reason, right, it is treating as a both, right? So this is what we can you can go and enter here all the information. Now whatever the informations you are able to see, right, so these informations will change based on the adapters. So for rest we have seen, right, what all things will come, right? For example, right, we if we have created a soap, right, so what will come, right? So in the soap, right, the page would be different. We have to just give the visual URL and the security, right? So if you see, this is going to be the different one. Then for example, right, if I will go to the ERP cloud, right, so in the ERP, right, it is again going to be changed, right? We just have to pass the cloud, right? So it is not asking what type of REST API it is, right? And then username and password, right? So this is how, right, what will happen, right? This will go and change. So for example, if I will go to the FTP, right? So if you see in the FTP, right, it will ask about the host address, right? Port it will ask, right? And the credentials it will go and ask, right? So it means like based on the adapter, right? What adapter we are using, right? So it will go and change. So for example, right, in the ATP connection, right, in the database, right, what will do, right? It will ask about the security directly, right? It will ask about the wallet password, admin password, right? So if you see, right, it is going to ask different things based on the different connections and all, right? So that is what we have in the connections. So if anyone has any questions into this connection, let me know. We can go and take those questions.
So adapters, right? You said
Yeah,
so those are all pre-built. We are always use the pre-built, or anyone creates their own adapters. Is there a way you can create your own adapter, or it's just
no,
always?
it is a predefined only. If you see right here, all are pre-installed. So you cannot go and create here anything. And if you said there is no create button, there is no import button, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
these are
this
all Oracle standard
correct.
provided adapters, right? Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And this list right keeps increasing. So 6 months back, right, it was a 97 adapters. Then it was 104. Then it was like 107 or 8. And now it is 112. So based on the new system, right, the clients, right, so based on the client's feedback and all, right, Oracle keeps increasing this list here.
Okay.
Yeah. Then the next is the libraries, right? So what is this library, right? So library is nothing but like we can go and write here custom code. So suppose if you see right in this one, right, when we create the integrations and all, right, we are using all the component, right? We are not writing any piece of code and all, right? So for example, right, we have some requirement and we are not able to achieve, right? So suppose some calculation or some logical thing is there which we are not able to achieve, right? So how we can go and do that one, right? So can we say no to the client that okay, we are not able to achieve, right? No, we cannot say that one, right? So for that reason, right, what we have right here, we have this libraries. So what is this one, right? It means like you can go and create here JavaScript code, right? So this is a custom JavaScript code. So we can go and write. So you can prepare your file and you can come here and you can go and import, right? So you can upload the zip file, you can upload the zar file or js file, right? So these files you can go and upload, right? So if you go and see here, right, for example, if we come to this one, right, so in this one, if you see right here, what it is, right, it is a like if you see this is a JavaScript code, right? So we have written some code here, right? So that okay, we are not able to do something, right? So what we have done, right, we have got, we are writing the logic here, whatever the logic we need to write, right, and then we are returning that output and all, right? So like that one, right, we can go and put that logic here in case if you are not able to find out, right? So this is what we can go and achieve into this one, right? So for example, if I will go to the next one, right, maybe in the utilities we can go and see, right? So property in file, right, if you wanted to check, right? So these are not the predefined, right? These are the ones which we have created. So if you go into your system, right, like whenever the new instance will be created, right? So do we get any number of integrations here? No, we will not get anything, right? So this is going to be the completely blank. Then once we start creating, right, so the list will keep coming here, right? So that is what we have here, right? So if you see, right, helper class, right, we have. So if you see, right, here we have the calculate duration between two strings, right? Then compare string. So these are very simple ones, but if you see, right, we can go and write the functions here. We can go and write the logics, right? So if you see right here, this is a JavaScript code we can go and write here. Now, why JavaScript only? Because JavaScript is a like very popular language, right, in the community, right? So we can go and get the support easily here, right? So due to that reason, right, it is giving that option that okay, we can go and write this one, right? So that is what we have here, the JavaScript code, right? So you can go and write any code, then here it will go and show. So if you see right in this one, right, this is one file what we have. This file internally contains three functions, right? So it will go and show that all the three functions. So once you click right, it will show that okay, what is the input, what is the output. You click into this one, what is the input, what is the output. You click into this one, what is the input and what is the output, right? So if you say it, from where these came, so these will came from here. So it's not like we have to define all these things, right? We just have to go and upload this file. That's all. So for example, right, I will take copy this code, right, and I will prepare one file. I will say test.js or 1234.js, right? So I have prepared this file, right? Test1234.js, right? So what I will do right now, I can come here. So this is the same thing, right? It is a JavaScript file, right? You can go and write any function and that's all. Now, for example, right, we will not write three, we'll write two only, for example, right? Right? So I just have two functions here, right? What I will do, right? We can come here, we can use the import option. We can go and upload that file. So this is the file, right? What we have, right? We can come here and we can go and upload that file and we can say import. So if you see, right, it got imported here, right? So if you see, right, once we import it, file got come, and if you see it, both the functions came here, right? So if you see, right, now what we have to do, right, we have to click into this one. So this will come, right? So which now if you see, right, it got uploaded, right? but it is not saved. If you see, it is in the draft only. So if you wanted to expose both the methods, right? So we need to click into these both and then we need to save. Now it is in the configured state, right? So these are both the functions that will be exposed when we use this into our code, right? So we will get the both the functions. Suppose here we have created, right? But we don't want to expose, right? So what we do, right? We can just save. So what will happen, right? In this one, right? Only one is it is going to be exposed, not both, right? So that is what we can do. So if you see, right, what we have done, right? We just have uploaded the file, right? Did we created all these things? No, right? So these things will be created automatically based on this one, right? So whatever we do, right? So based on that one, right? These things will come automatically. Now going forward, right? If you wanted to download that file, you can download. If you suppose you wanted to modify, right? So one way is like you can modify in your local, then you can re-upload. But if you wanted to modify from here, right? So you can go and modify that directly from here also, right? So that is the what, right? So directly here also you can go or upload the code. For example, right? We don't need this third one, right? So we can remove this one and we can say save. So see the third method gone, right? Second method. Now we just have only one method only, right? So directly here also, right? We can go and modify the file. So this is the libraries we have. So now what is happening, right? If in case, right, if you are not able to achieve any logic, right? So we have the place that, okay, we can go and write our custom code, right? So when we can go and write our custom code, right, we can go and achieve anything, right? So there is no limitation. So out of the box of the functionalities also, right, we can go and achieve, right? So that is what the libraries we have. Any
So
questions
this
into
is
this one?
only for Java. You cannot do any PL SQL packages or anything.
No, PL SQL we cannot write here. PL SQL we can call because this is not a database, right? So to
Okay,
write the
okay,
PL
okay.
SQL code, right, we need a database, right?
Mhm.
So suppose if
Right.
any PL SQL code is there into your database, right? So that code we can call from here,
Okay.
right?
So and
So
also okay. Um, and also if there are any issue in the code, right? So it won't
alright,
save. So it will give you error.
which this libraries,
Yeah, yeah. Let's say when you import, right?
alright,
Yeah, yeah. Can you edit that?
okay, we can check that one.
Yeah, just to remove like
For
the
example,
last
I
line.
will, yeah, I
Yeah.
will remove this one. We can say
Okay.
save, so it will give that error.
Okay. So
That
it's
okay, whatever the
compiling.
file we
Okay.
have done, right?
Checking.
It is not the correct way.
Okay. Same.
Yeah. So any file, any syntax, right? So that is again one more beauty of the Oracle OIC. So if you put anything wrong, right? So there only it will go and you give you an error. When you define your format, right? For example, you wanted to create one integration, right? And in that one you wanted to say that, okay, input is going to be the JSON format, right? And if that JSON format, if you put wrong, right? It will give you error there only. So that, okay, there will be no runtime error,
Yeah.
right? So that is what we have. Any other questions if we have? Okay. So if no question, then we'll see the next one. So next is the packages, right? So what is this packages is, right? So packages, as I told, right? So this will be used for the migration purpose. So if you see, right, we cannot go and create any migration, create new integration, right? So if you see, create option is not there. What we do, right? We can just go and use the import, right? So how these packages will be created, right? So when we define the connection, when we create the integration, right here, like application, right? So here this package will come, right? So if you select the, if you see, type in new or select an existing connection, right? So if you select from here, right? So it will be the existing one, right? If you enter here something new name, right? For example, right? Let me create one, or let me go to the connection first, and I will find out here, right? XYZ. So if you say that there is no connect package with the XYZ, right? Now what we'll do, right? We'll come here. I can say create connection, application, and I will write here XYZ underscore integration underscore 01. We'll delete this one as this is just dummy we are creating. And here, right, what I will do, right, I will use XYZ, right? So there is no package as of now, right, with this one, right? So we are giving the new name, right? So when we do create this one, right, what will happen, right? The package will be created with this one, right? So we can come out. So if you see our integration got created, right? If I will come to the package now, right? See XYZ package came. And once you click into this one, right, what will happen? It will show that, okay, which integration it is using, right? So that information it will go and show here, right? So once we go and delete, right? So we can say here, delete this one. So we have deleted the integration. Will that package also be deleted? Yes. If you see, there is no package with that one, right? Because package with the zero connection, right? There is no point, right? So that is what we have. So suppose now for one particular thing, right, we are creating, for example, this one, right? If you see when we are creating this one, right? So in this one, 55 integrations are there, right? So if you see, right, 45 are in the active and 10 are in the inactive state, right? So these many integrations what we have, right? Now suppose when we wanted to migrate all these 55, right? So one way we already have seen, right? We can go and one by one we can do, right? We can migrate first, we can migrate second, right? So that is the one way, right? But if I will ask that, okay, migrate all 55, right? What you will say, right? That, okay, this is not possible, right? It is very time consuming and error prone, right? So what is the easiest way, right? So we can go and put those into the packages and then, right, we can just export this one. So if you see, right, here what we have, right, we have the export option. So we can say export or delete. So we can export from here. So for example, right, if I will export this one, right? So what will happen, right? It will go and export .par file. So if you see .par file, right? So .par file is nothing but the package file, right? So integration will download the .iar file, right? This will download .pr file. Then we can come here into the another environment and we can go and upload that file here. So once you upload, right? So we will get that import or import and configure, right? So we can go and do that one. So what will happen, right? In one go, right? All these 55 integration, right, will move from one environment to the another environment, right? So that is how we can go and do that one into the OIC. So that is the package purpose. So package is there only for the migration purpose. That, okay, we can migrate easily or bulk integrations from one environment to the another environment. So any questions into this package? Okay, so if no questions, then the last is the agent, right? So what is this agent, right? So agent is like for that system communication which are not there on the internet, right? So suppose if some systems are not there on the internet, right? So for them, right, we can go and use this agent. So I think already I have given the example, but I will explain that again. So for example, right, you wanted to take a loan, right, from the bank, right? So for that, right, you wanted to communicate with the bank manager. So what are the different ways, right? You can go and communicate with the bank manager, right? One is the phone, right? You can call him or you can send email, right? So these are the two ways, for example, right? So phone and email, right, are the adapters, right? You can also connect, I can also connect it. So phone I can also use and you can also use phone, right? So phone is an adapter, right? When we define the connection, right, what will happen? In your case, it is your phone number. In my case, it is my phone number, right? So that can go and change, right? So that is what we have the adapters, right? So that is what we have this concept of connection and adapter, right? So with the bank, right, we are able to connect with the email and phone. But what will happen, right, if suppose some person is there, right, who is not using the phone and who is not using the email address, right? How he will connect with the bank, right? Or we can, or bank will say that, okay, the person who are not using phone and email, right, we will not provide the loan, right? It is not like that one, right? So what will happen in that case, right? Bank will send some representative, right? So we can say that loan agent, right? So bank will send some person to the person's house, then that person will come. Then with the help of that person, right, we will able to communicate with the bank, right? And once that person will go, right, we again we cannot establish, we cannot communicate with the bank, right? So same concept here also, right? So this is the agent, right? We can go and create here agent group, and within that one, right, we can go. So now this is a file, right? So you can go and download this file. So this is a supporting file it will have, right? So it will give you the one connecting file. Then we can go and download this configuration file. And then, right, what will happen, right? We can go and run that file. So it is going to be the jar file. right? So that jar file, right, we can hello, hi team. So hi team, there's a power cut at my place, so we will connect tomorrow. I think this agent cons topic we will take tomorrow.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, yeah. If any questions, if anyone has, let me know. We can take those questions.
Also, Prashant, I have one question.
Yeah, please.
So, can we create any customized adapter in this Gen 3 instance?
Yeah, we have that concept of the rapid adapter, but it still is in the early days. So even I have not done that one. But yes, like I have seen that okay, we can create our own adapters. But for that one, right, I think to upload we need some server and all. So still even I am not sure that okay, what is that whole end-to-end process. But yes, I have seen that okay, in the generation 3, we have something that okay, we can create our reg adapters.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions if we have?
And Prashant, I'm just talking about we have the credentials, right? Database credentials and FTP credentials, right?
All right.
That we have like maybe they have not shared with us. So
No, I hope it will be shared. Maybe like the email you got, right?
yes, yes.
So in that one, it would be there. If not, you can just message in the group again. So maybe the Komal or Subhya, right? They will share. But I am hoping that okay, that will already be shared in that email.
Okay, I'll check the email further and I'll
Yeah, you
let
can
you.
check. Otherwise, you can reach out to them directly.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, sure. Any other questions if we have team? Okay, so thank you. We'll connect tomorrow, same time. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.